Good morning everyone and welcome to this hybrid meeting of the Civic Licensing Committee. I would remind all attendees that this meeting is being recorded and webcast live on the Council's YouTube channel. I would remind all remote attendees to mute their microphones when not speaking unless they wish to speak, and they should do so by raising their hands remotely. Can I also remind remote members attending hybrid meetings where quasi-judicial matters are being considered that they will not be permitted to participate by audio only and must have their video and camera functions switched on at all times. Thank you. So if we move on to item 1, apologies for absence.
Yes, Convener, I've got apologies from Councillor Durno. Today we've got Councillor Brace, Councillor Stewart and Councillor Whiteside remotely, and the rest of the members are in the chamber.
Thank you. Item 2, declarations of interest and statements of transparency. Do we have any statements? Councillor Stewart.
Thanks, Convener. Yeah, a statement of transparency for item 4B, and that I'm a taxi operator. Declaration of interest for agenda item 10, report 13825. I'm a taxi operator. So I'll actually leave the meeting for that agenda item. And also agenda item 13, report 141/25. Again, taxi operator, but I'm quite happy to stay in the meeting for that one. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other declarations? No, I see no hands, so we will move to item number 3, committee membership. The committee is asked to note that the membership is shown, as shown on the covering letter to this agenda. Are we happy to note that? Thank you. Item number 4, appointments. The Public Procession Subcommittee to act with delegated powers. So this is to deal with the notifications of public processions where the Chief Superintendent considers the march should be prohibited. The membership of the subcommittee consists of 3 members, and accordingly the committee is asked to appoint 3 members, and where appropriate appoint a convener and of the subcommittee. So do we have nominations? I'm going to put myself up. So are there anyone else? Councillor Meehan.
Can I nominate Councillor Scott?
And do you have a seconder? Councillor Speed. And do we have another volunteer? Councillor Nicholl. Seconded by Councillor Scott. And does anyone want to second? Councillor Scott can second myself. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Councillor Whiteside.
Thanks, Convener. I had my hand up. I was going to nominate myself, actually. I wondered if there's any necessity for some form of political balance at all. I know it's not a political committee, but just for the sake of fairness, I wonder if we could consider.
So thank you, Councillor Whiteside, and apologies that you were slightly below and I missed your hand on the screen. Councillor Nicholl has intimated that she's willing to step away to give you that spot, and Councillor Clark is happy to second that if everyone's in agreement.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Item 4B, Taxi Private Hire Member Officer Working Group. The remit of the Taxi Private Hire Member Officer Work Group is to, as it's described in the agenda letter there, the membership of the Taxi Private Hire Member Officer Working Group consists of 4 members. So we're asked to appoint those 4 members and appoint a chairman and the member officer working group.
Sorry. Councillor Stewart, did you say you were leaving for this?
No,
not for this one.
Not for this one, no.
So I'm happy to put myself down for that one if somebody would like to second me. Councillor Meehan. Do we have anyone else that would like to join that working group? Councillor Meehan.
I would nominate Councillor Speed.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councillor Scott. Councillor Stewart.
I don't know if I would be able to go on it, but if we could take advice from Mr. McCrean on that, I would be happy to go on it if it was appropriate.
Councillor Stewart, as per other discussions, it really is a matter for you to consider whether that would amount to a conflict of interest, given your declarations that you've already made in terms of being an operator and a driver. I would urge caution on that basis.
Okay, that's good enough for me.
Councillor Whiteside.
Thanks, convener. And apologies, Linda, I never discussed this with you. I wonder if you would consider going on this one.
Councillor Clark, you happy to do that?
Thank you, Councillor Whiteside. Thank you, convener. I would have put myself forward anyway. Yeah, I should have a bash at something I've never done. Thanks very much. And I would seek a seconder if I'll second.
Councillor Scott's happy to second that. Thank you. Councillor Speed.
Am I right in thinking that there's one spot still left? I'd like to propose Councillor Nicholl, Louise Nicholl.
Okay. Seconded by a selection of hands. Okay, thank you. So we've got on that, sorry, it was myself, Councillor Speed, Councillor Clark and Councillor Markle. Thank you.
Everybody happy with that?
Everyone happy?
Yep.
I think it might be wise to just remind us what we've just signed ourselves up for, maybe at some date. Because
It's in the agenda. Yeah, it's all there.
Sorry.
Yeah, Councillor Scott.
Can I nominate Councillor Gregg?
Do you have a seconder?
Yeah.
Councillor Clark.
Your head.
And there. Thank you. In that case, if we're all happy with that, we will move on to item number 5 to agree the minutes of the previous meeting. Are we happy to agree that these are true record? Agreed. Thank you very much. Item number 6, exclusion of public and press. The committee is asked to note that the public and press will be excluded from the meeting during consideration of item 13, so as to avoid disclosing confidential information in terms of section 50A brackets 2 and brackets 3 brackets B to the Local Government Scotland Act 1973. Are we happy to agree that? Thank you. We move to item number 7, delegated approvals. As you'll see in the papers, these are for noting. Are we happy to note this? Thank you. Item number 8 is the holiday and touring and migrant worker sites grant is renewed under delegated approval. If members have any questions, as this is quite a new one, we do have Louise Manson present if anyone has any questions. Do any members have any questions on this item? I see no hands. So in that case, are we happy to note this paper? Agreed. Thank you. Item number 9 is the sexual entertainment venue policy statement review. Again, this is for noting. Are the board happy to note? Thank you. And then we move on to item number 10, which is the tax.
Sorry.
Apologies. We go back to item 9. Mr. McQueen has pointed out. I've just lost it here. So there are 3 recommendations. 2 are to note, which we've already done. The third is to determine to commence the process of reviewing the policy statement in connection with sexual entertainment venues. Are we agreed to do that? Agreed. Thank you. Apologies, everyone. Item number 10. So we have the taxis fare review, and we will start by looking at two.
If they want to do that, we do have representatives if you wish them to speak.
So sorry, going back to item number 10. So this is the taxi fare review. We agreed previously a consultation was held, and that was between the 13th of February and 15th of March. During that consultation, several things were put forward by the operators and drivers, for which we've got some representation here. You'll note that in the report there are the discussions that were happened around that and the things that have come forward. We do have some operators here that would wish to talk to the board, which I'm happy to allow. So firstly, if I can ask Mr. Gibson, if you would like to come forward, please. Thank you very much. As most of the information is in the report, the consultation happened, everything's in here. I'm going to limit you to 3 minutes, if that's all right. So if you'd like to just push the great one and then just talk to that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I would say if the letter coming out telling us that we couldn't put I would have put in a narrative, which I would have considered a consultation rather than a proposal. I'm aware that you've got, I believe, 7 proposals put in front of you, 4 against, 3 for an increase. I'm also aware of the Courier article yesterday, but it does not give, given the amount of operators in Angus, it doesn't give an overview. It doesn't give you enough information. And I am glad that you've now set up a working members group. So hopefully that can be proactive. The bottom line is, without revenue and without profit, there's no taxi companies. The decline in the service in Angus has been absolutely massive. I had to turn my phones off for 13 minutes last night and I missed 28 calls. No way I could have kept up with that demand, but the public expect me to. And I couldn't because of lack of drivers, lack of vehicles, and it reduced my service to the public. And I think there was one other taxi out in Montrose to service the public. It's caused by cost, and the only way the taxis can survive is if that cost is paid by the customer. There's no other way to deal with it. Due to national minimum wage increase, I have to do £1,000 a week extra business just to pay that staff. I haven't bought a pint of milk, a loaf. If I replace a clutch, used to be £700–800 supply and fit not that long ago. Now I'm looking at £1,300–1,500 a week. I understand operators that think they're going to lose business. I have never, ever in the last 10 years had anybody complain about the price of taxis. The only complaint is you can't get them. Drivers can only do so many runs in an hour. If they're not allowed to charge something that allows them to make living wage or national minimum wage, then the council is actually supporting people working below that to provide a service to the public. So I'm all for providing a service to the public, but I have to be able to supply the drivers to do so, which means rewarding them, and I have to be able to upkeep my fleet to the standard that's required to meet the taxi tests. And the only way I can do that is if the rates go up so that we can afford it. And again, as highlighted in previous meetings, this is a maximum. If other operators want to go below whatever proposal is agreed by the board, that's up to them. But I value what I charge for the service I provide. I don't know if I exceeded my best.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson.
I don't have anything written down because it was muzzled.
That's okay. Thank you. I would ask, are there any members who have any questions for Mr. Gibson? Councillor Brace.
Thanks, convener, and thanks, Mr. Gibson, for coming along today to make your case. I've actually done the sums using the current rates. No way I'd be investing in a taxi business at these rates because I can't make it stack up on paper. So I do get your point. I was wondering though, we have different proposals. You've put in your proposal as to what the rate should be set at. So to have another couple of people who also seek an increase in rates. And so when I look at the, I think it's Appendix 3, where these different proposals are compared, they're broadly similar in the level of increase that you're seeking. Do you have a particular problem should this committee approve a different option that involves a similar increase?
What's not understood is that different operators achieve different level of profitability depending on the service it provides. So you have sole traders, and then you have companies. So a company like mine that services the broader field, the broader range of hours, a lot of corporate. I obviously lose a whole chunk of the fare that's paid to pay the staff that's doing it, because I have a fleet with drivers in it, where Joe Smith driving Joe Smith's taxi has to pay for his fuel and his time, and everything else is his. It's different levels of taxation. Because the size of my fleet, I have to have a booking office. I have to staff that booking office, and there's other things that I don't want to take up too much time of the board's time, but the levels I've assessed is going up by X on every fare doesn't produce that on every fare for me. I instantly lose 40% of it to the driver, then lose 20% the remainder in VAT. It whittles down. The increase I've submitted has been calculated over how many drivers on average each driver does, multiplied by the number of drivers, to try and offset the increase in costs caused by my costs. I think my turnover year against year was almost exactly the same, yet a £40,000 decrease in profitability. So 40,000 has just left the table, which renewed vehicles, etc. Certainly not holidays, but you know, expanding the fleet, renewing the fleet. I've gone from 11 cars down to 8. So yeah, difficulty not achieved. I've done a lot of sums. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Mr. Gibson? No. Thank you, Mr. Gibson.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If I can invite Mrs. Foreman, please, if you'd like to come forward. If you'd like to put yourself in the hot seat there. Again, I'm going to give you 3 minutes as well, if you'd like to yeah, just the grey button to talk, and then when you're finished, just pop it back off again. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for letting us speak at this meeting. As we were previously told, we couldn't. I agree with a lot of what Mr. Gibson has said. I too have staff that I have to pay by the hour. Things are getting harder. You're not as busy as you used to be, but COVID killed that. You know, it just killed night trade, everything. Saturday nights are not too bad. Like Mr. Gibson, I have I have 2 vehicles. My husband has 2 vehicles, and we have bills coming in that, you know, our minibus is 10 years old. We've had to get a lot of work done to it. We've just spent over £10,000 on keeping it on the road because we can't afford to buy a new one. We're just trying to basically do our best for the public. We do need this rise. Everything is going up. Fuel has kind of stayed the way, you know, it's been not too bad for fuel, although we're noticing Forfar it's always about 6-7 pence dearer a litre than it is anywhere else. So we also have the running costs of that as well. I didn't really have anything prepared to say because we were told that we couldn't speak, so I didn't have anything written down, so I've just had to kind of take things off the top of my head to say. And I think Mr. Gibson basically said everything that that I would have said to you, you know. Like operators that, there's a lot of operators now just rent their cars out to taxi drivers, and they go around acting as if they're operators, giving themselves a company name and whatnot, what's not on your database. You know, if somebody phoned up saying about somebody's taxi, they were in somebody's taxi last night, and it was, you would go down your database and say, no, sorry, they don't exist, you know. So a lot of them are doing things like that now, renting their cars out, but we don't rent any cars out. We employ everybody. Anything we do is done by us, basically. and things are getting harder, and we can't get staff. Nobody wants to do the job. Nobody wants to work a Saturday night till 2, 3 in the morning, picking people up. Years ago, we had about 7, 8 of us staff. Now we're down to about 2 or 3. We've tried to get other people to come in and work. Nobody wants to do the job, and basically there's going to be no taxis left shortly, you know. I did notice the bit in the paper yesterday that they said
Sorry, your microphone's just gone off. It's just...
they said about the taxis in Arbroath yesterday that there would be no, you know, if they put the fares up, there would be no operators left, basically. Well, I think if they don't put it up, it's going to be the same scenario. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mrs. Foreman. Are there any questions for Mrs. Foreman from the board? No. Councillor Speed?
Yeah, I'm not too sure if it's a question for yourself or perhaps for later on in the discussion and debate, but it was just picking up on the comment that you made about that there are people that perhaps aren't registered or licensed to drive or are driving a leased vehicle.
Sorry, can I just come in there, please? This is not relevant to this particular paper. It's something that we can pick up later, and I'll speak with the LSO on that. It's not relevant to the taxi fares, but thank you for highlighting that.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd just like to say that these people do have badges, like they do have taxi badges, but they don't have operators' licences.
We'll pick that up.
We'll pick up. Do you want to just pop the mic off? That's it. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions for Mrs. Foreman? Nope. Thank you very much. Just in response to some of the, you can take your seat back, it's fine. And just in response to some of the comments from both Mr. Gibson and Mrs. Foreman about, for a bit of clarification, a consultation went out to taxi drivers and operators. Those that did respond are in the papers that have been published. But also within that, there are comments that were published as part of that, again, as you'll see within the report. So the invitation to ask you to come was more of a nicety. There is no right for you to come and speak, but we as a board like to have you here so that you can put forward your case and so that we can ask you questions as well. So that's a bit of a clarification around that. No, sorry, no. I have to leave it as that. So we'll go to the report now. And does anyone have any questions on the report itself? Okay, any comments? Councillor Speed?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, this is a really difficult one because I feel that the taxi trade have been hit time and time again over the years due to various kind of crises that we've all been through. I do very much take on board the comments that have been made by those that have spoken today, but I also feel and hear the concerns of others within the taxi trade who, you know, do feel that this really would have a huge impact if we were to agree to put the fares up today. And in all of this as well, I'm very mindful of the passenger, of the customers, who also then should, in fares go up, be perhaps impacted. And I'm sure a lot of the customers that use a taxi are those that are perhaps within the most vulnerable within the Angus community because of the fact that they need a direct door-to-door service. So I would be concerned about that. But what I have noted over the years, and not being a member of the licensing, Civic Licensing Committee, has been that when the fares have gone up over the years, there perhaps isn't enough awareness that actually drivers, traders don't necessarily have to take the full increase. I don't know if that's something that's maybe been a misconception, but I certainly will take all that's within the report and all that's been said today into consideration when I come to my decision on the matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Speed. Councillor Whiteside.
Thank you, Convener. Yeah, I think that the important point which was raised by Mr Gibson was that this is not obligatory. This is the maximum, and taxi operators do not have to charge that. I think, although Councillor Speed raised the issue about the affordability for the users, if taxi companies go out of business and there's not enough taxis available, which is already the case in some areas, then there is absolutely no benefit to the customer if they cannot get a taxi. So I think we have to be mindful of what we've heard today from Mr Gibson, Mrs Foreman, and really take on board the comments that they've made. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Breeze.
Yes, as others have already said, this is a maximum that we're setting here. And I'd be very concerned, one, that the supply of taxis dries up completely if they're not able to operate profitably, and two, that if we don't increase fares, we may well be increase maximum fares. We may well just be forcing people into a race to the bottom regarding quality of service, perhaps quality of vehicles. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there Councillor Meehan?
Yeah, thank you, Convener. It's good to hear, I think, from the operators who've actually taken the time to come in. However, we shouldn't forget, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there are 4 operators who have actually said that they don't want to see increases in the fares. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from members? No. In that case, we will move to the recommendations. Excuse me. It is recommended that the committee, 1, considers the taxi fares reviews representations received in response to the initial consultation which ended 15th of March 2025, contained in Appendix 1 to this report, and the table related calculations contained in Appendix 3. Number 2, proposed new fare scales, whether these are unchanged from existing fare scales set out in Appendix 2 or alternative options. 3, request the Director of Legal Governance and Change to advertise the new proposed scales. And 4, delegates authority to the Director of Legal Governance and Change in the event that no adverse representations are received in consultation with Police Scotland to implement the proposed scales as soon as possible within 1 month of the date of advertising the new proposed scales. Do we have any motions from members? Councillor Meehan.
I would move that we go for option 1, no change from the current fare scale. That is because there are 4, I understand, operators who suggest that that is the best way forward for the businesses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Be happy to second that if it's okay. Do you need me to provide an explanation or?
Nope, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Breeze.
Yes, I would like to propose option 2, I think it is, which is the one suggested by Laura Mercabs. And the reason why I'm picking this one out of the other 3, I don't really, I'm not equipped to pick between the 3 options that are proposing a price increase, really. But I am well equipped to understand that they do need a price rise, in my opinion. And we must remember that this is a maximum we're setting. It's if somebody in Arbroath wants to do a discount from that for their clientele, fill your boots. So this is what I'm. This is my proposal, option 2.
Thank you. Councillor Clark's intimated that she's happy to second that.
I am.
Councillor Whiteside, did you have anything you wanted to add there?
No, I was just going to offer to second that, but I do have great concerns if the maximum price doesn't go up, that we'll lose taxi firms and we'll be really struggling to provide the taxi service. Thanks.
Any further amendments? Okay.
Members, we're dealing with item 10 on the agenda, which is the taxi fare review. And there has been a motion moved by Councillor Meehan, seconded by Councillor Speed, that the committee adopt option 1, which is no change from the current fare scale. There is an amendment by Councillor Bray, seconded by Councillor Clark, that they agree to option 2, which was submitted by Lorimer Cabs Limited. So if you vote for the motion or amendment. Convener?
Amendment.
Councillor Nicholl?
Amendment.
Hayes?
Amendment.
Councillor Clark?
Amendment.
Councillor Meehan?
Motion.
Councillor Scott? Amendment. Councillor Speed?
Motion.
And Councillor Whiteside?
Amendment.
So that's 2 for the motion, 6 for the amendment. Therefore, option 2 submitted by Lorimer Cabs has been carried and agreed.
Okay, so going back to the recommendations, we'll go back to recommendation 3, which requests the Director of Legal Governance and Change to advertise the proposed new scales, and 4 delegates the authority of Director of Legal Governance and Change in the event that no adverse representations are received in consultation with the Police Scotland to implement the proposed scales as soon as possible within 1 month of the date of advertising the new proposed scales. And for reference, item 4 references part 6 of the agenda in there for members to know. I would also just comment myself, I'll give myself that luxury, that these are the maximum fares. If any operator or individual taxi driver wishes to charge less, they of course are more than welcome to do so. So these are the maximum fares that can be charged. People can charge less should they choose and wish to do so. There is nothing to stop them from doing that. Can we just agree, just confirm that we agree recommendations 3 and 4 of the report?
Agreed.
Thank you.
Could you just give me a minute till I message Councillor Stewart to rejoin?
Yeah. If you want to stay, you're more than welcome to. If you want to leave, you can also do that as well. Okay, thank you everyone. We are going to move on to item number 11 now, which is the exception to the cinema licence conditions. Because there was only 5 members involved with this, so it was myself, Councillor Brays, Meehan, Scott and Stewart, we will be the only ones able to sort of participate within this particular agenda item because of that. So if I can ask Mr. Damien Murray, if you'd like to come up, have a seat, and then I'll invite you to talk to this application and just push the button to turn the mic off. You don't need to hold it. Once you're finished speaking, just turn it back off. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Yeah, hi. So we're just putting an application in for 2 separate films. So the first of which is to raise awareness for Ataxia UK, which is a small little charity in Montrose, which one of our regular members is actually impacted by the condition. So we wanted to put that on, but obviously it's not BBFC rated, so we submitted it for that. And our second one is I've forgotten the name of the second film actually off the top of my head, but that's it. Thank you. The Silent Messenger. So that is in relation to we're actually doing this in partnership with one of the universities in Edinburgh, where they're going to come along and do a bit of a workshop alongside the film that they've made. So it's open to everyone from that.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions? No? So, in that case, we'll just go straight to the recommendations then. So it's recommended the committee, that the relevant members of the committee, which detailed earlier, 1, determine whether to permit the exhibition of the 2 unclassified films, and 2, if the committee is minded to permit the showing of the 2 unclassified films, determine what, if any, conditions apply to the permissions. Any motions from members? Councillor Breeze.
Yes, my motion is that these films be shown. I've no problem with them whatsoever. I would just say, actually, one of the films delves into prehistory and into what our distant ancestors kind of how they went about things, and it just occurred to me that if one of my very distant ancestors came across one of my young grandchildren, they'd be more terrified than my grandchildren would be of them. And I wish Montrose Playhouse every success with these films.
Thank you. Councillor Stewart.
Hi, Convener. Yeah, I thought we might have had comments.
Please carry on if you have one.
Well, my comment was I watched both films and I had no issue with the first one, A Taxi. I didn't have any issues with that. The Silent Messenger, I just wasn't sure. We're being asked for it to be unclassified, and I did have a bit of an issue because there was like knives and whatever involved in it. So I just wasn't sure whether that was appropriate for viewing for children. And that was where I had a bit of a concern.
So, Councillor Stewart, do you have a motion that you're looking to propose?
Yeah, well, it would be an amendment, would it? It wouldn't be a motion, would it?
So, an amendment. So, firstly, so I'll go back to Councillor Breeze. Do you have a seconder for your motion?
I hope so.
Councillor Meehan. So, Councillor Stewart, if you'd like to propose your amendment.
Yeah, so my amendment would just be that we agree to the Taxi one, but not to the Silent Messenger.
That's fine. Do you have a seconder?
I don't know. I'm sitting.
I see no hands. So are we happy to agree the motion put forward by Councillor Breeze? Or do you wish to note your dissent, Councillor Stewart? Or are you happy to go with the motion?
No, I'll just go with the motion.
Okay, so is that agreed? Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you everyone. We move to agenda item number 11. This is, 12, a new application for street traders license. Firstly, we have Mr. Jason Baird. So if you'd like to come forward, please, and take a seat. Thank you. If you'd like to talk to your application, please. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. At this present minute, I want to withdraw my application for the trader's licence.
Okay, thank you very much. That was withdrawn. Thank you. Okay, in that case, next we have Julia Groves. If you would like to come forward, please. Welcome. Take a seat. If you'd like to talk us through your application, just use the microphone and just press the grey button on or off.
Okay. So I started a business from home, selling cakes, tray bakes, biscuits, all this kind of stuff. The whole idea behind it was to bring back sort of I want to say traditional recipes, but it's family recipes I grew up making. I'm diabetic, and I turned diabetic when I was 3. I'm now 26. So even now, it's very difficult to find things for people like myself to actually be able to eat and enjoy. My youngest child's also dairy intolerant, so there's a lot of stuff she can't have because she's also can't have soya as well, which is a very common allergy to have if you're dairy free. So all through my childhood, my happiest memories were always cooking in the kitchen with my mum, and I really enjoyed doing that, and it sparked a passion within me. Once I left high school in 2016, I then pursued a career being a chef, which unfortunately I had to give up because I had kids and the hours just weren't appropriate for what I was needing to do in that. So I now work part-time at Morrison's, which gives me that flexibility to be able to make all my cakes at home, and I do get my kids involved as much as I can, and they enjoy it as well, and giving them that memories. But the whole point is to sell these cakes and make a bit of extra money, yeah, but so people can enjoy these traditional recipes that they've maybe forgotten, their families have forgotten, that have been lost, whatever that is, and just give them that memory, but also make memories with my kids too, and give them happy moments that I remember having with my mum as well. So
Thank you very much. Do any of the members have any questions for Julia Groves? Any questions? I see no hands. Oh, Councillor Whiteside.
Thanks, convener, and thanks, Julie, for coming along. It sounds really interesting. Do you have any comment in relation to the objections around about the location of where you're planning to operate from?
hi, yeah, so the objections, I have read through the objections and I've wrote down some stuff in my book so I didn't get confused. When it comes to the parking, I would agree the parking can be an issue in East Haven. There is plenty of parking in the square for the village, which mainly the residents would use, but they're obviously, when you've got nice, beautiful days like it is today, you're going to have a lot of people coming down. But I would actually say 98% of my customers either walk or cycle, either from Arbroath along the cycle path or from Carnoustie along the cycle path. And East Haven's actually one of those places that it's like the perfect stopping point for a lot of people. But that's not to say you don't get people coming down and parking. And I would say because of COVID, that's when you really did get the crazies, I would say. And I do say that very lightly, and I don't like saying that about people, so I do apologise. But you were getting people parking on the island right outside my house. You were getting them parking, like trying to drive their Land Rovers down onto the beach because there was no parking. So what I've done in place of that is, other than put up a post on my business Facebook page, is I've always made my customers aware that if they are coming down with their cars and that, to be mindful of the people around, to be mindful of where they're parking and that kind of stuff. The only time they actually stop right in front of my drive, and most of them have the courtesy to kind of bump up on the curb a bit in case the buses are coming past at that time, is when they're quickly just picking up something from the house, because I sell stuff on Too Good To Go as well, which is a food waste sort of app to reduce the food waste in your CO2 footprint and all this kind of stuff. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Councillor Clark.
Hello, Julia, and welcome. Just again, following on, we have to look at objections, obviously, and you've read these letters. And the one about the dog is quite concerning. So would you like to comment on that, please?
Can I just quickly ask, is there anything specific, or are you just meaning the general comment about the dog? Sorry.
I'll not hedge my bets here. I'll say to you it's both, really, because this person is speaking about bit awful at this time of day, but defecation in the garden, not getting picked up. Now, there is a situation right across the board with people not picking up after their dog. Now, you can say in a garden, does that really matter that much? But in this situation, possibly. So maybe just give me a wee comment there.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify if there was something specific about the comment or if you just mean in general. So my dog is a cross between an Alsatian and a Malamute. So he is a fairly large dog. He can make a lot of noise. He's an hour way to be 2, so that noise that he's making is starting to reduce a bit. He does bark when people come at the door, but if anyone who's ever owned dogs or knows dogs, that is very common. And he just gets very, very excitable, especially when it's someone new at the door. He just wants to speak to them. We are still training him and getting that under control. As for the exercise, I can say that what my neighbour is saying is false in that sense, because he is walked 2 or 3 times a day at least. I'm home most of the day. I only work from 6 till 10 at night when I'm actually leaving the house. It's very rare that if, like, I'm coming to this meeting today, so I was actually babysitting my neighbour's puppy as well, so my mum's taking them up to her work. So they're getting that exercise, so they're doing that. So he's very rarely ever left on his own. In regards to cleaning the garden, I'll admit, yes, it can be an issue, especially at this time of year because of the heat. And I fully appreciate that can be an issue, especially for my neighbours. And during the winter, it was maybe not picked up as often. So say like right now, I'm picking it up every day, but during the winter, it was maybe every 2 days. But I am making a conscious effort to do these things. So,
thank you, Julia.
Thank you. Councillor Meakin.
Thank you, Convener. I have a question, but it's not of the applicant.
Yeah, we'll take that.
I wonder if Angus Council have actually received any complaints like these about parking or dog fouling or any of those.
Sorry, am I able to just quickly...
I'll answer that one if you're okay. You need to deal with what's before you. Certainly, the consultees would include roads. At that point, they have not put in any objection. But the 2 objections that are before you mention those bits, so it is on the basis of what's before you. The proper consultation has occurred.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Julia Groves? No? You can sum up if you'd like.
Just quickly adding on about the parking ever so quickly, when I mentioned about COVID and that, we were in contact with the police in regards to that stuff as well. And the police gave us, I think we were to share them with one person in the village. So they had all that information, so we'd have to take a photo of where they're parking in their licence plate and pass that information on to the police as well. I just wanted to clarify that bit about COVID when I mentioned, and I'd forgotten to say that before, so I apologise.
Okay, thank you. You can step back now. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So we have no objections from the police, roads, environmental health, building standards, anyone else, other than the 2 written objections that were contained within the report. So we'll move to the recommendations. So those are to 1, grant the application, 2, grant the application subject to standard or additional conditions, 3, defer the application period for not exceeding 6 months from the date of the application, or 4, refuse the application on 1 or more of the grounds referred to paragraph 4. Councillor Whiteside.
I propose that we grant the application. I think it provides a good service for people visiting the area, especially during the nice weather.
Thank you. See, Councillor Brace, are you looking to second that?
Yes, I'd second that. I think this is a fantastic idea, and great to see it thriving. I do pay a lot of attention to the objections from near neighbours, and I would hope that the applicant would do their very best to sort of assuage these or mitigate these things. And I do note that there have been no objections from environmental health, the roads department, the police, or anyone else. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to that? No, we're happy to grant the application then. Have we agreed? Agreed. Thank you very much. Thank you and good luck. So that concludes our live business now. We're going to move into the private session for the remainder. So thank you, everyone.
John, could you stop the live stream, please?